Welcome to Real Talk with Karia Christopher, the conversation. Our new season is filled with heart-to-heart dialogues, always unscripted and always unedited. We tackle issues from the bedroom to the boardroom. No topic is left unturned. We inspire and we ignite. We go where no one else dares, but always with dignity and flair. Join us for a new season of Real Talk as we learn, love, and laugh together. Hello, BVI. Hello, Caribbean. Hello, world. Welcome to another wonderful edition of Real Talk with Karia Christopher. This season, we promised you to love and live and laugh and learn. And we're going to go where no one else dares to go, but of course, always with some dignity and some flair. And lately, we've been hearing a lot of talk about the entrepreneurial space. It is a space that I think that I know very well in my other life. But we want to hear from actual entrepreneurs. It's very much glorified, and everybody from the outside looking in wants to get to that space. But today, we're going to have a real tough, honest conversation with two lovely young ladies who've made that space their own. They're going to talk to us about the journey, get into the entrepreneurial space, and perhaps you, by watching this, can learn something. You may want to even more get into the space, or perhaps you'll be like, okay, I've learned a lot. Maybe I need to do some research. However, I am not the expert here. These two gorgeous ladies are here to tell us about their experience. I'm going to introduce to you my two wonderful, lovely guests, Miss April Glasgow and Miss Sabrina Evans. Ladies, good day. How are you?
Peaceful.
She said peaceful. So I'm going to start with you, April. Introduce yourself as you would as an entrepreneur. I want folks to know who you are, and there's a space that you love to brag about. But who is April Glasgow? Ha!
That's my hashtag.
I know.
So I'm still working on the last part. But what do I do to make money?
Mm-hmm.
I am a writer. So I've been telling stories. My business is named Story by Adisa. And a lot of times when people talk about public relations, marketing, communication in general, media, what they forget is that, it's all about telling a story, telling the business's story, telling a brand story, telling the individual story. So I help businesses and people do that. I've been doing that since October 2019 officially, where I left my job and decided I'm going to do this full time.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But Miss Evans, yes. Tell us about all that you do. I know that you're a social media superstar.
I'm not.
What is your space? What do you say your space is? Who is Sabrina Evans?
Okay, so I'm Sabrina Evans. I'm the owner of JBY Fashions on the Pier Park. And right now I'm in the space of my activewear brand, and that's called Thrive. So
I think you're missing a few businesses.
well, so there's JBY, and then I have True Luxury. I sell hair extensions, wigs, and accessories, virgin hair. And then I have Thrive. So I have Thrive, JBY, and True Luxury.
There you go. So this really is about kind of getting to know that space. Now, April, I'm going to start with you. I know sometimes this can be some tough places that we're going to go, but we really want to give persons an honest feedback on how this actually works. You both are very young, wonderful, and mothers. We're going to talk about that too, how the challenges that you have to navigate in trying to manage being a parent and a business person and the kind of nights that you have to spend. You said that you officially went into this in 2019. So I'm guessing you meant that you left your very nice, cushiony paying job and you jumped into the entrepreneurial space solo. You now are working for yourself. Tell me about that process. When did you decide? What came to you? Because I've been trying to jump, but I still just leap in, just little baby steps. But you jump, and I am so very, very pleased to hear you say that. What propelled you to do that?
God. I'm not like a religious person. I would consider myself spiritual, and honestly, I felt the calling to do something on my own, and it wasn't about fame. And again, if you know me, you're getting to know me a lot more now. It's not about me putting myself out front, but more so thinking about how my gifts can contribute to the greater good. And I know that going on my own, I would have learned so much more that I could not learn in the space of working for someone. That I had to first get a better appreciation for what managers, what CEOs, what other persons do, and also get better understanding of what it is to work on the ground in BVI, and what does it mean to really be a business person in BVI. So I tapped in, and one morning, it was like a month before I left, I was like, it's time.
1 month.
And I put in my notice, and that same morning I was like, but it was in love. Like, so even like my last job, I get along with all of them so good. It wasn't a matter of me being sick and tired or anything like that.
Right.
It was just time.
Do you think, though, that persons who take a longer time to make the decision do a disservice to themselves by getting frustrated and sick and tired? Because if you are truly an entrepreneur, you're never going to be happy working a 9-to-5 job. You're never going to be happy in a box where you report to X. No matter how nice they are to you, no matter what great friendships you have and what wonderful social relationships you have, this is my opinion though, if you're truly an entrepreneur, you're never going to be happy just being in that tunnel. And so people who are more nervous or who say, I have bills to pay, I have kids to feed, they wait until they get frustrated and now they hate the job. And then it's a whole different story. So you were one who just said, okay, I'm going to go on a good note.
And I said,
regrets?
God will provide.
Wow, God, I'm going to be your friend. She said, God will provide. God, I pray every day, but I
no, and I'm not saying that to say that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do any work. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to push.
No, I understand
that. I have that much faith and trust in the great God of the universe that I will be okay.
So any regrets so far?
The only regret I have is not doing a bit more research in terms of my industry and I guess not networking more prior to. But I don't regret it. I'm not gonna go and say like I'm making 100K a year. I wish that's gonna happen though.
Yeah.
But it is a challenge every day for it's not lining up with my wider goals, my long-term goals for home ownership and, really, really taking care of my children because I have to.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm happy with my decision because now I know what it's like.
So we're going to get into that part that people forget, especially if you are a family woman and you have children and bills and responsibilities outside of the glamour. But let me just jump to Miss Evans. So you have a slightly different story. You were born into a family of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Any pressure to be as successful as the Romney clan?
At the time when I first got into being an entrepreneur, I was still in college and I didn't really feel so much pressure, so to speak, because I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to come back, I'm going to work with the family and things like that. But I developed a passion at that time. It was for mainly fashion. I was, modeling at school and doing little fashion shows and stuff like that. And I wanted to do my own thing. So I started JBY online with $1,500. That's how I started my website, $1,500 before it became a store and all that sort of stuff. And I didn't necessarily feel that pressure to necessarily do my own thing, but I know I wanted to do my own thing. So even though I know I was going to come back and do what I'm doing with the family, I still wanted to be able to have my own thing, have my own baby.
Your own thing outside
of that I built, that it's not something where I had to talk with anybody about or, that I needed advice for in that sense. My mom has always worked closely with me, but she always had a kind of eye for fashion too, so we could bounce ideas off each other. But as far as decision making, it was all me. So I got to be able to really put myself into it and not have to feel like, yeah, her family do this or, like that. Like they didn't branch it for me. That's
any pressure from outsiders in terms of, oh, well, she get to be on Real Talk because she come from money anyhow. Because they do accuse me of just having people with money on the show.
Oh, wow.
Which is not
you
true.
Wouldn't have me.
You know, and a lot of people have this misconception that if your family has money, you have money.
Too. Yes.
And I don't know how else to explain it. And only other people that are probably in the same situation as me, as somebody that probably came from a family that has money, understands what I mean when I'm like, Miss, I broke too, you know. Some of the times I'll be like, oh, you want to do these things. Oh, you have money for those things. I don't have money for those things.
So don't you think that it's...
you know...
But let me just be an advocate here for the other half.
Yeah.
And while I know your family very well, love your auntie, mommy, everything, and I say to them, I'm going to remain spirit. Not necessarily the money, but I love the ethics and everything, and wonderful set of people. But don't you think it's a fair assessment for persons who may be watching this show and listening to you, looking all glamorous and beautiful, and saying, well, Sabrina can say that she has not one, not two, but three businesses, and she knows that if she needs money to feed her son, in no way they're gonna make that child go hungry or Sabrina to go hungry. Is that a fair assessment?
I would like to say so, but it might, in a sense, things could be different for me than they're different for other people. So I know some people that have come from,
comfortable lifestyle.
From a comfortable lifestyle, but their parents would be like, oh, that's the walk of life you want to take, that's on you. I know people that don't have that connection. I have a tight relationship with my family. So yes, if I fell on my face, I know that I have that support. I'm fortunate enough to have that support. Because really and truly, even if my family didn't have that kind of money, if you have that kind of bond and relationship with your family, nobody in your family that really loves you is going to watch you suffer. So it has, I don't even think it has much to do with coming from money. If you have that support network in your family or just around you, nobody that really truly cares about you is going to watch you suffer.
They're going to be
so
proud of you here today. Yes.
I hope so. But yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot more work than people think it is.
We're going to get through that all of the work. We're going to get in the nitty gritty. But April, you have a profession of service, just like me. So your brand is you. Your brand is your talent. You can't take I need some me time today because you won't get paid because you are your work.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to say post-pandemic because we are still in a pandemic where lots of businesses are struggling. People are unemployed and underemployed and generally just frustrated with just the economy, not only in the BVI, but really worldwide. Your job is to market a business, to promote a space. Would you say that this is the right time to launch forward, or has it been more difficult? What's your thoughts there?
I would say business continues. Money is still there to be made. And I'm not just talking about in my space, but I mean, Sabrina just launched a fitness brand. So certainly there is the business environment. There's nothing, I think that it's only going to grow. I think that we're not going to be completely devastated. This is my faith in the universe.
And you should. I'm taking from you too.
But saying that to say that, of course, when it comes to media, marketing, communications, for smaller businesses, the ad spend, the amount of money that they can budget for marketing or public relations, it's going to be a lot smaller considering if they have any at all. I find a lot of small businesses tend to just try to take it on themselves until they grow a bit more, and then they're able to hire someone like me or a full team if they have. But I would say locally things have changed a bit. And I know it is because of our border situation. Like a lot of the businesses that would require that level of promotion because they're trying to get like the person's coming in and what have you. Right now it's a bit difficult for them to take on someone full time.
What has been your biggest learning curve since 2019, being in the space and experiencing things that you probably read? Because I know that you're probably looking at all of the bloggers and the marketers and living in a very small community. Who is April Glasgow? A lot of people know who you are, but they probably don't know some of the struggles in moving forward to where you want to be. What has been your biggest learning curve?
I love the question. I don't know what's the biggest. I've just been learning a lot. From just basic accounting principles and getting your numbers right, to balancing my personal life with my professional life. When I say personal, really and truly is my children.
Of course.
It's always having to do. You're a mom. We're moms, so we
Yes.
always know that children are our priority. To even that separation between who I am, because you mentioned who are you, who I am versus my business and even some of my clients, because sometimes people might associate me with a client, and I'm like, well, this is my client and I support them in this space. It doesn't mean that is me, and that is
Understood.
yeah.
Understood.
So
Completely understand. That's a very good answer. It is. I don't think that people understand, and I am not where you're at yet. I would love to be there. I say it every single time, and I hope maybe I did this show for selfish means and selfish gains, because I don't think people understand how much faith you have to jump, and it's a jump. You're either in or you're out. How much determination, work ethics has to be on par to none, sleepless nights, and then you have to have some form of residual income somehow, whether tucked away or coming in. And I think that's the feel that a lot of people have, and they don't understand it. Now, you have more of a product that you sell, products that you sell. And as April alluded to, having the borders closed for a minute had to be tough for anybody. You having a cruise ship pair organization, the cruise ship pair was, which was named after your grandpapa. So, I mean, the pressure for you to succeed. Maybe it's a good thing I'm not a Romney now, because child, but the optics were very dim.
Yeah.
Yet you still managed to keep going and growing and glowing, and now creating Thrive, which is
Activewear.
I'm gonna say a luxury activewear. Can I say that?
Nice. That's
Yeah, I
nice.
saw it. I said it's nice, and I want to. Before I ask this question, I did have audience. I asked her, when is she gonna have some activewear that can fit people like me? And I said people like me because we make up more than half of the population. The average person don't look like you, nor you. I just let y'all know they look like
I'm
me.
still very fit. Thank you.
Child, they look like me. They look like me. But when you were getting this luxury activewear, which is beautiful, gorgeous, everything,
Thank you.
I had to get 2 for Christmas.
Yeah.
What propelled you to take yet another leap in another space that was uncharted, at least here in the BVI?
Okay, so being that we're going through the pandemic and stuff, my store is on the Pear Park. That aspect of it, because the ships actually do bring a lot of business to the establishments at the Pear Park. So as soon as those type of things started to die down, I had to kind of figure out what's the next thing. Because like you said, I sell a lot of products, and so retail is what's more natural for me.
Yeah.
And there's always that something that people need or want or that they're interested in, no matter what's happening in
Yeah,
the world.
yeah.
People want to look good, they want to feel nice. So people would, all through the pandemic, they would still order hair and stuff, and I'd be doing deliveries via my website, which was very shocking to me, but still. And then I love to work out. I'm very active. April's also very active. So, there's a lot of people right now that are on this fitness
This trend.
way because
Yeah.
everyone wants to live a healthier lifestyle
Yeah.
because of what's happening in the world.
Yeah,
So of
yeah.
course,
Makes
naturally, right. So I'm working out, and I've always carried a few active wear pieces in JBY. And so when I work out, I would have on some of those things and I post them, and people are like, oh, like I really like that. You have this in the store and this and that. And I'm like, okay. There's a thing happening here. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend some time, research, order samples, check out the quality and things like that, and then go with it. So that was my biggest motivation. Like I spend a lot of time in the gym. I'm more of a on the fitness enthusiast side of things now. So the best way for me to do that is to go with the wave.
I love it. You a lot of what you do is by social media, even your website, things that are in your face, very much so. And April said something earlier. She likes to separate that personal life from the professional life. I want to say for you though, Sabrina, it might be a bit more difficult because you are modeling your attire, you wear the hair,
Yeah.
you know,
yes.
and so people want what you have. They want to see you with the hair, see you with the outfits. So how difficult is that to be Sabrina the person? Because outside of being the retailer, the businesswoman, you are that woman who wants to have dinner with some significant other and nobody comes up, or who wants to take her child to school and just be a regular person. But then people, it would be very difficult for people to dissect the two. They have it as one. What's your coping mechanism for that?
Um, I feel like I'm pretty regular though, so I mean that's how I feel. Like you would think that people would be like, "Oh yeah, you the girl from this is and that." It's not really like that. I get a lot of. This is the thing, right? And I get a lot of support, but it's not necessarily broadcasted. If that makes sense.
It does.
So, people may have their reservations or feel like sometimes I've even heard other people say things like, oh, she want to have it all, so she going to start everything.
That's okay.
And yeah, that's totally fine. Some people have that mentality, but those are the same people that will come and support me, but they will say things on the outside. So yeah, I know it's really crazy. And sometimes I struggle with it because I'm just like, why are people like this? So, as far as coping, I don't really have too much to cope with. I just go out and I do my thing because as much as I feel like people may not necessarily spread certain things or have nice things to say, on the back end, they're watching, they're looking, they go out and they support. So I might do my hair a certain type of way with a certain texture and stuff like that. And then I post it and then all of a sudden people are buying it.
Yeah.
So I just realized that, okay, I'm marketing myself now. I'm marketing my brand. This is what people like to see because I've tried to detach myself so that I could do other things. And I find that I sell more of my own things than anybody else does.
Because you're the face of your brand.
Right. So people expect that of me anyway. And it's not necessarily something to necessarily I feel like I'm coping with because people don't really be in my face like that.
I'm going to ask April a question just now, but I want to finish that point that you said. You said you don't think that people, you look a regular person.
I look at it.
And I want to tell you that you're not.
Okay.
The only reason, and that's not a bad thing, I went to Drake's Traders on Thursday. Drake, you should be sponsoring me. I just call your whole name on TV.
I know.
And I was on the phone with my mom. My mask is on, minding my business, trying to get some screws or something. And I'm on the phone with her though. And then this lady, this is COVID now, this lady kind of touches me. She was like, you create Christopher. I recognize that voice everywhere, anytime. And I keep forgetting that my voice is really who I am. So I have to always be careful when I say something. So I say this to you. People know who you are. People are watching what you do. It is important for it to not get in your head because in the same space, there will be persons who are looking for you to fail as well. I can promise you that. And that's just how the nature works. And and I am double your age. And I just got to understand that more than ever. So you have to kind of pace yourself and be aware. People are watching you, and maybe they're not brave. This lady who came to me was so sweet. She was a little older lady, so she was like, oh, I know that voice. But there might be somebody else thinking, oh, that's a Sabrina girl with that hair and that clothes. I don't want to heal her, but they will go in the store and buy the same clothes. And so you have to recognize that you're ambassador for yourself every single place you go.
My mother says that too. She's like, you should dress better when you leave the house.
Oh, listen to me. I'm going to get to you with that. So, April, I like that point that you made because, see, I tell you, I almost around me, but anyhow. Yeah. April, you see, you have, what can I say? Your intellect is what you sell. It has to be that. Your intellect is what you sell.
I know a little something.
Yeah. I think you know a lot of something. And I remember you when you worked for government and then you worked for statutory body. I want to say Social Security or NHI, one of those.
And Ports Authority.
And Ports Authority. So you've had the gamut of, industries to work in the same space that you love. What were you not getting from that space that you thought that you could get working on your own besides the freedom of being creative?
I would say that when you work for someone, I guess it's all creativity, right? That it's still whatever you want to do or whatever abilities that you think you can contribute to the message or the campaign, the whatever is happening, that it still is going to be under the scrutiny of someone else.
Understood.
So that
I understand that.
So that even if you have a boss who is, a little free, like, okay, you want to do this, but you're still limited in that, okay, I know I can do this, but that would be pushing it. Or, and then even aside from that, I mean, government communications are just completely different to working with businesses.
You're very structured in what you can say for government.
And I found that very limiting. And I was hoping that, in our small, although it is a small community, that we are opening up to being different, to being more free in how we...
You're trying to be politically correct.
Yeah.
Because you know what, that's smiling. So I understand that you I don't have to be, it's my show. So but I do understand that if you are a creative person, you are a creator.
Yes.
There are certain spaces that will limit you to the point of frustration, and it's not a jab at any one industry or any government organization. You were born to be a free spirit, and that was what God ordained you to be. There are some people, this is what I say to people when I work in my other job, which I never call a name, but at other job, when we get so many applications, and you look at the applications and you know that this person just probably will not make it because they don't have the right structure in place. To work for yourself, you're not going to try, nobody wants to fail, but it takes so much background work to get to just the startup. You have to have the money, especially in your type of industry where it's retail. In the service industry, everybody thinks they're smart. And I think everybody should think they're smart. But if you're selling a service of yourself, you can't think you're smart. Other people now got to really believe. You have to have something besides a pretty face and pretty smile and beautiful teeth. You have to be able to show and prove. Now, April, let me just ask you this. Because you're in the service industry, I know this is perhaps a challenge that I had very early in the game. I hope that my work precedes me now and people understand what I do. It took me some time to get that confidence up to even charge for something I wanted to do. Because I felt like, they're gonna be looking at me strange, like, Lordy, is she going? But she charging me to do this. And then I had to get that confidence in myself and to understand that, but then you do it. And I know it's more difficult for you to do it than for you to pay me to do it. Did you have those concerns in terms of having that confidence to charge? And
for sure.
Yeah.
That's why it took me so long to do it, because I had my trade license from the year or two before that. So
you had that.
So it wasn't like, it was a process for me, because as you said, it's I mean, I guess that's the start of business, like believing that you can do it. Actually, like, okay, like and it's a good friend of mine, Natalie Pickering. She was the one who was behind me, and I have to give Natalie praise and thank you, Natalie, for that. Because she was the one. It's like, April, like, you can do it. I have faith in you. I've worked with you. I know you, and I know what you're capable of. So it was that push and my faith that really helped me to get it out there. Am I 100% confident now? No.
And nobody would be.
No.
Do you think that your faith is enough at this point, or is your faith enough? Do you think that you were ready for some of the real tough times that it takes to be an entrepreneur?
I think that everything happens for a reason. Everything, like, there are no mistakes. That's April talking, right? And so because I know that my choice to get in it and to take my hard licks and to be broke some months and then to have a little extra some months and to be sleepless sometimes a whole weekend, because I have assignments, plus I have to be with my children during the day and do all the errands and what have you. Like, I know it was all for purpose, and I feel like that there's still more for me to do. It might not even be in this space, because, to be honest, I got into public relations because it's something that I can do, and I do it well. I'm a writer. Like, I know I'm really good at that.
And you
I'm
should
good
say
with
that
words.
with every confidence.
I'm really good with words.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the camera. There you go.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I love that. But the reason why I got into that, it's more so, I would say, to strengthen my storytelling, because I really want to get into filmmaking. So like everything for me is a step. I don't plan on being in this space forever. And you never know. By next year, my spirit might lead me someplace else too.
So you, as a retailer, you said something I wanted to get back to. You said your mom said, sometimes you should dress better. Tell me how you feel about that.
But I think you always look so great.
You know,
That's funny.
Okay, so the way people on the street see me versus how my mother sees me versus how I see myself is 3 different point of view.
Tell me
okay? Because I really admire, there are some women I know that they have multiple kids, they get up early enough, they pack their bags, they're well made up, they have their makeup on, and they're ready to go. I love to sleep, and I wake up very early. I'm up from 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning.
Okay.
Mind you, but for some reason, I don't be pristine like a diamond every time I leave the house, even though I'm up really early. I just feel like, do I really need to put on all my makeup to go out the house? Do I really need to like put all this extra clothes on? I'm just gonna go drop Cyril to school and go to work. Nobody's gonna see me in the office. I'm gonna wear my polo shirt and my jean pants or whatever, run my errands. But my mom is just like, you have your brand and your image and you need to represent yourself. And I have other really professional people. They tell me the same thing. Like, you need to look the part all the time. And these are very successful people and they do it all the time. They're like, I can do it. You need to get your, together. So I want to do it. Some days I'm like, yes, I'm going to do this. And I do it. But other times I'm just really casual with myself most of the time. Like, I want to wear my active wear, like my leggings and a shirt and go about my business. And when people see me, they're like, you look real nice today. I'm like, that's what I thought. So if I tell my mom would be like, so you have to dress like that? And I'd be like, I got a lot of compliments today. She's like, I don't know what they're looking at. So my mom is one of my hardest critics.
She's your toughest critic.
Yeah, she
that's
is.
How mommies
she
do.
wants the best for me, and I appreciate that. But sometimes I just be like, you think I'm out here to impress these people? Right now, I am not. I want to go do what I want to do, and I want to come back.
I got to take a quick commercial break, but I'm going to ask you both this question on the heels of that. I didn't even know we were way past halfway there. It's going so good. In the heels of having that pressure, for you at least, to always be very dressed and look good, and then we acknowledge that your brand is a thriving brand, hence Thrive. Oh, yes, we love to see it.
Okay.
And you generate a lot of interest in the young people. I want you to talk to me when we come back from the break on the influence that you have on those that are looking at you, specifically younger people, and want to be like an April and want to be like a Sabrina, and understanding that, now I don't want to contradict mommy, but the pressure to always look pristine can be more than a lot of people can handle. But we'll talk about it when we come back from the break, as we take a break with our lovely sponsor, Flo, and all of the other sponsors. But Flo, I thank you so much for giving us this space. And we have these two lovely entrepreneurs, Miss April Glasgow and Sabrina Evans, talking to us about the entrepreneurial space in the British Virgin Islands. And really it was a step off to how a lot of other young people are feeling worldwide. We'll be right back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
When your dog rolls over, does it give you double data? Nope. But Flow prepaid mobile plans do. Simply stay topped up and you'll get double data when your Flow 7-day prepaid plan renews. That's up to 6 gigs for you to enjoy. Top up today. Now that's a good plan. Dial *129# to activate and stay topped up. Conditions apply.
How can you connect with people authentically from the heart? Nothing replaces the human connection better than communication. And nothing will be able to get you further along than to connect with other people. Today, I am offering you personalized one-on-one coaching on public speaking, negotiation, body language, all the necessary tools to make an impactful statement. It's about shoulders back, head straight, mastering the power pose, and giving your audience of 1, 100, or even 1,000 the biggest impact that you can dream of. I take you on a personalized journey in a private setting, holding your mic, standing at the lectern, and being authentically you, true to yourself, being a better communicator. My services will ensure that you are prepared for your next job interview, accepting a public contract, speaking at a wedding, a campaign event, addressing the boardroom. The possibilities are endless. We will ensure that you are prepared and ready to shine, no matter the audience. My many years in front of the camera with thousands of interviews, hundreds of hosting engagements, dozens of boardroom deliveries, and yes, my certifications have prepared me to teach you the tricks of the trade and prepare you for your next big step in life. I cannot think of anything in life where communication is not important. I am Karia Christopher of the Charm Academy, where we will make your voice your best asset to help you succeed. Call us today. And we are back here at the Karia Christopher Studios with Real Talk. These two dynamic ladies just walking us through the entrepreneurial space, and we're talking the real stuff. What happens behind the scenes? We understand it looks glamorous for everyone, but I'm so grateful that you guys were so transparent, or are so transparent, and you're telling us really what happens more so behind the scenes. And if you are getting ready to take a step into the entrepreneurial space, listen to these young ladies. They tell us the true, real, hard facts. Now, we talked about before the break some of the pressure that you face, and you specifically talk about your mother, but it's really pressure from external to always look very, very glamorous. And if possible, maybe it's a mom thing, because I have that same thing for my mom and I do it to my daughter and that kind of stuff. No, but we have also known that especially young girls look at social media and they see, because you're gonna only post pictures that look very glamorous. It probably get to you.
I know.
And people see what they think you are every day. Now, I might be a little too old for this. My kids will be cackling, laughing at me, but I will only post pictures that I like. Understanding though that that's what social media is. You give people what you want them to believe. But in the reality of it, and all of us being parents, the life that you live, people just look at it and see, oh, she always looks very put together. Tell me how you feel about that. Do you feel some pressure there? I mean, I think you alluded to that before, but what's happening there in that space?
I tend to only post pictures of myself that I like on my social media, but as for lately, I have had so much activity on it as far as activewear and stuff like that. I'm not glamorous in the gym and stuff, so we post a lot of workouts and things like that. So I'm not that much focused on it like how I used to be. If I was gonna just post a selfie or me outside of the gym, because I spend a lot of time in the gym too, then yes, I want it to look really nice, because I put it to my mother like this: people need to see me doing my regular thing so that when I pop out, I pop out. That's how I feel. Because if I'm not like, if I look a certain way every day, I'm real made up and stuff, and I feel like when I do pop out, and I'm just like, I see her. But I want when people see me, they're like, yes, girl, you're cleaning it up. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me.
Well, that's fine.
And I think that's just me not wanting to put the extra effort into, because I feel like there is a lot of scrutiny that people on the outside would put on you when they see you and they expect you to look a certain way or be a certain way. So yeah, there's a lot of outside pressure. So you could kind of like at least look presentable-ish, I guess.
Okay.
Can I say something to that?
You absolutely can.
With what you said in terms of social media and a lot of people looking at that, honestly, I think that in my field, especially PR, it's what you put out. I don't like that side of social media because it does come off fake. And I do like the fact that Sabrina said it's going to be a mix. It's going to be, yes, the curated me representing my brand, but also who I am every day. You should be able to see that. And what I do appreciate about her industry, especially, is that it is fashion. So you're going to see more of that. But then when you peel back the layers, and anyone who's watching will know that there's a real person behind it, so that we should never ever think that what we see on social media is who the person is out there.
How important is that?
That is so weird for people to even think. So it's like, no, this is an image. It's like art. You know, the artist is gonna make sure whatever is going to be designed and make it look a certain way for that certain audience. But you know, I mean, after I leave here, I'm going to put on my cutoffs and my Crocs, and I'm going to go to the supermarket.
And so, therefore, I am so happy that we actually broached that subject, and because in this social media era, even in a very small community, we're very westernized in our thinking, and the issue that we have is that people see what we want them to see, especially young girls. And they aspire to be like an April, aspire to be like a Sabrina with the abs and the hair and the nails and the lashes and the brows. And
like a Sabrina, yes.
Both of y'all. And very beautiful. I see you. I just saw you post a picture and I was like, so even old people like me, even the older people like me see these young people. And I was like, jeez. I remember when my skin used to look so pretty. And so therefore I used to child. We have to even as an older person, when I say older with just a little, older than you guys, I still had to remind myself that what I do reflects with my kids. My girls are bigger now and older now. And I have to remind myself not to put that kind of pressure on them too. Because I do face that pressure to have to look like Real Talk with Karia, Christopher, all the time. I kind of like it though, but that's okay. But it's what I love to do, and that is what my brand is. But I recognize that I have children or young ladies now, not at all like me. Mercy, they're not like me at all. And back in the days, you're like, Hunter, you want to put a little lip gloss on?
To be fair,
tell me.
To be fair, before I had my son, you wouldn't catch me slipping, When I came from Atlanta and I came down here,
she said you wouldn't catch me slipping.
I'm telling you, like, my hair was always done, my makeup was done. Like, when I lived in Atlanta, we put on makeup and stuff just to go to the supermarket. We might have on heels, I have on my knee-high boots and stuff, and I brought that home when I came. So when people see me, they were like, who is this? Because I was fresh. But you see,
she said I was fresh.
I was fresh. So I carried a lot of that continuously into my pregnancy. But after, I feel like motherhood kind of changes me people, in a sense.
Yeah. It matures you.
Right. So after I had my son, where I might have went and spent $2,000-$3,000 on a bag, I'd be like, I'm not gonna spend $3,000 on a bag anymore because I have Cyril. So even though I might have the money to do it, I just don't see it's not that important to me to look a certain way or to present this lifestyle because I have a
maturity.
Different right. So and even now when I make a lot of extra, if I make extra money and I say to myself, I'm gonna buy myself a nice pair of shoes and I'm gonna buy some Balenciagas or something. When I look at it and I look at how much it costs, I'm like, if I put this money into my business. It makes more sense for me.
There you go. And in that same space.
But that's just me.
We have this new term, new to the BVI. I have no generational wealth. There's just a certain amount of people that we see practicing it here. And I'm going to say it because it is real talk.
Yeah.
Where just a corner of the population, this whole room, and that little triangle in the corner would have that generational wealth. Where they will get invited to the parties. They will get invited to the investment clubs. They will get to be able to make sure that money rolls over. The average person only knows to put their money in the bank. And you get what? If you put $200, you get what, 2 cents in 3 months? And so that's a lot, right? And so we have to have a discussion about generational wealth. Now, April, I'll start with you. How important is that for you? Or is it important? Having two children and trying to start from you are different, where you are the start of where you are. How important is that for you?
Absolutely fundamental to my existence now since becoming a mom. And that's the reason why I said that I don't know where my business will be, where I will be come next year even, because I know that whatever moves I make right now would have to be along those lines for generational wealth to acquire, so that not that I don't want my children to be, I was gonna say spoiled, because we associate like preparing our children. I don't know why we say spoiled. No, I want my children to have more than me. I want them to have
And
a
you
very
should.
good head
And you
start.
should.
And yeah, certainly, I think that each and every person who has a child, parent, male or female, father or mother, is thinking along those lines, and if
You'd
they're
be
not, they
surprised, but they
should be thinking along those lines.
Now, April, you said something to me a couple of weeks ago when we started about talking about the show, and believe it or not, as confident as I am, it only just recently, and this is a few weeks, maybe a few months ago, I've gained the confidence to be able to say this and not feel any type of way. I don't know why we were talking about, and of course the girls came up or something, and then you said something about school, and you was like, and they're going to the best too. I remember that conversation, and I was like, yes, they are going to the best.
Yes.
Because I feel that as a parent, I want my children to have the best. And I'm not, let me just look in the camera. I don't think you should have to apologize for wanting the best for what God has blessed you with.
Amen.
So for me, education is important.
Yes.
You can't take education away. Once you have that, that's yours forever. And I feel like if I was given a good education, my children should get an exceptional education.
I agree.
So I want us to change the language, and we should promote generational wealth. And if you're a parent, even if you're an auntie or uncle and you don't have children of your own, but you love them like theirs, you should want the best for them, because that's the only way. When everybody gets a little something, everybody's happy. But when we continue to get a little corner stone in the corner, all the money, that's when you have the theft and the thief and all of those kind of craziness happening, because everybody doesn't get a piece of the pie. And we don't get a piece of the pie because we're afraid to jump. We're afraid to invest.
Yep.
We're afraid to take that risk. And we want things to come naturally. I understand that everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. My good friend Mead Malone says, you have to go with your giftedness. You found your gift. You found your gift. Everybody has a gift, but in my mind, everyone is not meant to be an entrepreneur. Everyone does not have the kind of dedication and support that you would need to be able to make it in this world. I'm going to ask a question that probably get me in a little bit of trouble here, but I could take it. I'll take it. All small businesses require support from the government, from the system. Everyone.
That's a thing?
I do read and I do see what people say on social media. Of course, I have a government job that works very closely with small businesses, and I will be the first to acknowledge that there could be so much more to be done. However, while I don't deflect the blame anywhere, because I know where my position sits, you worked in government, so I think you understand more than most people.
And we work together.
Yes, there's certain things that I can do and I cannot, literally cannot do. You have to do what is approved to be done. But because we're not in my other job, and because we want to help the public, what more can be done in our local economy to help the small businesses? What would you love to see? I'll start with you, April, then I'll go with Sabrina.
I think the good thing is because we are a small community where we know our partners in trade and consumer affairs and what have you. I would say just more and more just relationship building, and because the information that our government partners would have in terms of business to say, okay, well, this area is saturated. We don't have anything in this particular field, and maybe encourage more entrepreneurs to kind of tap into those areas. Because what I'm seeing more and more is the same kind, and not saying that you can't have more than one bakery, because somebody bread always going to be better than somebody else's bread, but we can't have 2,000 bakeries. I know I want to say a certain industry, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, but so I would say just more relationship building, so that we could figure out each other.
And that doesn't cost a thing, so I'll take the responsibility in saying, as long as I'm there, that's something we have to look into, because that's basic. And I think the first step is to acknowledge that we're not where we need to be at all, but listening and hearing and asking for feedback without getting offended
And
is
on
the
both
first place.
sides,
Yeah,
because
on both sides.
if our partners
Yeah.
in trade decides to say, "Hey, April, we realize you're doing a lot of this, but have you ever considered,
Correct,
or
yeah.
anyone for that matter, we just gotta be open."
Understood. Miss Evans, what would you like to see from that bigger space that you need that support from?
My biggest challenge for me, I guess, in the retail side of things has always been shipping. I find that it's extremely expensive to import and even more expensive to export. I feel like there maybe could be lower duties for smaller businesses within a certain threshold. It seems kind of unfair that larger businesses would pay the same taxes because they bring things in on a larger scale. So for a smaller business to be able to compete with a larger business, it's harder for them because even though they're trying to price match or remain competitive, in a sense, they might still be losing because they might not make as much because they don't order certain things in a bulk. So that is an issue. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to maintain a website at the time when I first moved home. I had JBY online, and there were weekends I'd make upwards of $10,000 just in shipping and packages and stuff like that. I came down here and it came to a complete halt because where shipping is $9 in the States mainland, it's nearly $60 to ship out package under £1 to the US, depending on what means you have to do so. And there are some companies that you can work with to get stuff from here to the mainland at a reasonable price, but it's hard for us to compete on an international level and go global if we don't have that support from the government. And that's something that I struggle with at first. There's a lot of loopholes and different ways that you could get things in duty free if they're being exported and stuff like that, but most people don't know about it. And I think that those resources need to be accessible to everybody. To be able to say, I'm just saying.
I'm an entrepreneur too, so I'm taking all of this and trying to some really exceptional points that may be outside of that other government agency that I work with. I'm not able to do it there. I can do it here.
Right.
Let people know that they need help. Help is needed.
They need to know what resources.
They need to know what resources. So since I can do kind of what I want here, and I can do what I want every time in there, these are great points that we need to know. Shipping is and more conversations without getting offended, and I like to say constructive conversations where both parties can learn. But we're basically out of time already. Wow. So I want you now. This is where you get to look in the camera and really tell. I'm going to start with you, Miss Princess April.
Tell them my deepest, darkest. Okay.
I want you to give persons the highs and your best high, and I'm going to say just your best high. You're going to stay on that positive end. Your best high from stepping out and doing your own thing.
Stepping out, doing your own thing, that is the high. Building confidence, learning more about yourself. Definitely it has increased my self-awareness as to like my strengths and my weaknesses. And what I also love about what I do is certainly the helping that I do with small businesses, and I do some nonprofit work as well. So I love that side. And of course, I love having a little more freedom to spend with my children. I get to do the pickups and the drop-offs and the pop-ins to school, the random stuff that I wasn't exactly free to do before. So definitely some highs in businesses and I would in entrepreneurship. And I would encourage anyone to, if you have a passion for it, to try.
Now, Ms. Evans, we already established that this is a tough role. It looks glamorous from the outside, but inside I think that the audience got an idea to say, child, I never thought under that. The shipping, the personal section, the not getting money.
Yes.
What's your biggest lesson that you've learned?
It would have been easier if I could just say what my biggest high was. But my biggest lesson, April mentioned this before, even though it looks really glamorous on the outside of having your own business and doing that, you do get, the freedom, the personal freedom to do extra things. And there's, financial freedom that comes with it. When you're up, you're up. Mm-hmm. But I would encourage everyone to do their research the research is so important to know what your startup costs are going to be, find out how much your shipping is going to be, get your estimates, find out what your duties are going to be. It's so important to have a handle of what it's going to cost to start before you get started, because some people jump into things without doing enough research, and then they get caught in a hole because now you don't have enough money to finish, or you didn't expect it to be that much work. And it took a lot of time, like for me, in every aspect of the different businesses that I have. People don't know how much hours and days and months that you put into just finding the right sources, making sure that things are of a certain quality, and you have to spend money to get these things to be able to say, okay, this is good enough to sell to people. So make sure you do your research, because it'll cost you more in the long run, and make sure you have control of your accountings and your books, and you keep track of your money, because it'll be all over the place if you don't.
You see, I'm not why I ask you that question, but ladies, gorgeous ladies, I think you did an amazing job. The one thing that none of you mentioned that I'm going to mention is the importance also of networking.
Yes.
If you mentioned, I didn't remember, but networking, I know. If you're going to step out and do your own thing, you got to network with persons in the same space. Outside of the space, you want customers. So you got to smile, and you got to try to put yourself in some uncomfortable positions. Someone like me who people think that I'm an extrovert, but I actually hate parties. So I go because I know I need to go, and I don't drink. So I have this grape juice in my wine glass all the time because I literally refuse to drink. But that's something I'm learning to do, not to drink, but just now to just have small chat.
Yeah.
And don't feel pressured into doing something that ethically is not correct. I think the space is there for who wants to be it. I think these ladies did an exceptional job in kind of giving you the basic and really some tough lessons that they all have learned as well. I appreciate y'all coming in here and talking about this unscripted world of entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
You guys are going to be awesome. This is going to be your season. It's Christmas coming up. Businesses are opening, so there's market space available, gifts available. We're so proud of these two beautiful daughters of the soil. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Karia Christopher. I want to thank my beautiful guests for really just taking an hour out of their busy schedule and giving us really an in-depth view of entrepreneurship in the Virgin Islands. We are here at the Karia Christopher Studios bringing you good, great, exceptional content. We will love and laugh and learn together. Have a great rest of the week, and God bless you all. Real Talk is proudly powered by Flow, sponsored by Nagico Insurances.